Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to be here with you today.
Hello, hello. Yeah, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
Tea Time Thursday.
Woohoo.
Yes. And so today we're excited that you're going to be checking in with us. Take a break from whatever you're doing. Just take a deep breath. I know it's been a week, but Alicia, our family's pastor, is here. My name's Eric Ruoff, if you don't know me, the discipleship pastor and worship leader. And Bonnie is here joining us as well for Tea Time Thursday. And Bonnie, you guys are behind the scenes with the tech work and all that stuff that goes on. So this wouldn't be happening without the help of Bonnie and Alan up in the booth, as well as we're going to be looking.
It could happen, but you guys would look awfully goofy. It's me watching you in the booth.
So we are definitely excited that you're here and that you're checking in with us. Comment, let us know where you're at, where you're watching from, who you're with. All those good things.
Yeah.
So check in. Let us know how your week's going. We want to know. This is a chance for us to communicate back and forth.
I love it. I love it.
Alicia, how is your week going?
It's a little stressful. I wish I could take the camera and just shoot it all the way around in here. This is our friend from VBS. Everything's coming together.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of
I'm so excited.
decorating.
This is just one area. The whole place is decorated.
Yeah, thanks. I've had a crew doing it, helping me get it all done. We're working on fellowship hall today to get that going. I know Bible study was in there last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there was some things up, but some of it was like piled on tables. So I'm sorry if you were at Bible study last night. It was messy.
Nah, it was good.
But yeah, it's like there's trains everywhere. It's super exciting. I'm excited for everybody to come on Sunday and see the decor in the sanctuary, because we've never done that before, where we've had decorations before VBS, before the week of, put out there. So I'm excited for you to see little by little every week, a little more.
Yeah. So whether you're here in person or if you're joining us online, if you're worshiping with us from afar, you will see a different stage setting. Mm-hmm. Ramdy over here will not be there. He'll be with me out here at Table Talk.
No, Ramsey's in there.
Oh, really? Oh, bye, friend.
So. Yes, by the drum cage.
This is short-lived. We really bonded the last 30 seconds.
So Ramsey is in every area.
Okay.
Little animals in every area of this. They're the same ones because they're our main characters.
Oh, that's awesome. So we are super stoked for VBS. It's coming up fast, and so you make sure that you register. There is a link in the wesley.updates.church link that's there in your description. Go there, and you can hit VBS sign up right there on the link, and you can join us.
Yeah.
So a lot of good things have been happening this week. You mentioned Bible study last night.
Yeah.
We looked at the church of
Pergamum.
Bonnie was there, as well as many others join us on Zoom and in person. So just good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff happening this week. It's been busy.
It's busy.
Yeah.
It's busy.
It is busy. So we are going to wrap up a sermon series that we are in. So hopefully you've been following along. You've been joining us. And it's this idea that it's God's unbreakable promise, fill in the blank. So the fill in the blank for the first week was Pastor Ryan preaching about even when we don't see it, God's unbreakable promise is there. God's unbreakable promise, even when we don't deserve it, was last week when it was undeserved. And this week is really interesting. I love this scripture passage. I know Ryan was a little jealous that this is the week that I get to preach. Because it's Jacob actually wrestling with God. And so we hear this story. We've heard this story in Sunday school, but we're going to dig into God's unbreakable promise even when we fight back, even when our humanness our humanity gets involved or gets in the way. And so we're going to take a look at that and look at the bigger story between Jacob and his brother Esau. It's cool. Pretty exciting.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it.
A lot of good things. So our text comes from
Genesis 32. We're going to read today 22 through 24.
There you go. So
Nice.
we're going to read the actual passage itself. If you want to get look ahead, is chapters 32, 22 to 32. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to jump into a little bit of the next part because that is Jacob's interaction with Esau. So if you want to read ahead, you can see that. But for today, we are going to focus just on the 3 verses, 22 through 24. You want to read that for us?
I got it right here.
Perfect.
That night Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions, so Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for reading it.
What's the next one?
Let me go back.
What's verse 25? Let's read verse 25. Just kidding.
25. When the man saw that he could not overpower him,
There you go.
he touched the socket of Jacob's hip so that the hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man.
Nice.
Then the man said, "Let me go, for it's daybreak."
Yeah. So there you go. So that's actually where I wanted to land, because our questions today have to do with that verse. Key verse, verse 25. Why would God send Jacob off limping?
Yeah.
So Jacob was sitting there wrestling. He was going toe to toe. The Spirit says, it's daybreak, right? Let me go. And Jacob refuses. And then so guess what happens? Bing, just a little touch, and it literally destroyed Jacob's hip. And so Jacob wakes up with a permanent limp. That's one of the questions going, is this a literal or is this a figurative story? Jacob has a lifelong sustaining injury to his hip. There you go. So here's a question for us. I love that God can take those moments where, Jacob having the limp is now weak, and in the bigger context, that's going to play out in his interaction with Esau. Now he is weak, weakened by that. So I love how God can take the weakness and our broken strands in our lives and weave them into something beautiful, right? He can take it for his purposes and for our sake. And so here's the question I have for us. Given some of the brokenness or some of our weaknesses, when given to God, gives him an opportunity to fill us with power. So how have you ever felt, let's see here, have you ever felt like you were in way over your head when faced with a difficult situation? I think Alicia has something that's pressing this week. Let me read that again. And please join us online, comment, let us know what you're thinking here. Have you ever felt like you were in way over your head when faced with a difficult situation?
So I don't think it's a difficult situation. VBS is just, I want it to be like everybody walks in and they're like, oh my gosh, I want that big reaction. I want everybody to feel like they're welcome here, and I want to be able to reach all these people. And so I think I self-doubt that it's going to get there. Or like 2 nights ago, I was up, I couldn't sleep because I was like, man, do I have enough decorations? And we had just taken a trip to Merritt Island to another church who offered us all their decorations on top of everything that we were doing,
We love Grace United Methodist Church, for the record.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, guys.
So I think I get in my own head, but then God provides, not that you can see yet, but as we can see, there's so much, and it's so welcoming for the kids, and I just think I get out of my own head and know that God's going to provide. God has always just provided. So that's the first thing that comes to mind, just because I'm in VBS mode, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Bonnie, have you ever experienced where in your weakness you felt that, God was doing something in that moment, making a shift there for you?
So I started a new job.
Oh, that's right.
I have no experience whatsoever in the actual important part of this job. Now, the easy part, can you make an Excel spreadsheet?
yes.
Yeah, in my sleep. Do you know what you're typing into the boxes? No, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yesterday, I actually had the experience of moving a patient who had been hit by a drunk driver. Brace all the way up. And there's 3 of us trying to help her get out of bed to come to occupational therapy. And that's really hard because one false move and...
You could hurt her more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we get there, and she is in the most beautiful spirits. Like, even through all of this nervousness, and I'm so scared I'm gonna end up killing this person, or at least just dropping her on the floor and making it worse. But no, she's the most beautiful Irish accent. And so one of the girls is like, "Oh, you're from Ireland?" And she's like, "No, I'm from Alabama."
All right.
She's like, "No, really, I'm from Ireland." But it was just so very obvious. She was
in that mood. She was in that spirit.
Jokes,
Yeah.
and so and it was not an easy thing to get her up.
Right.
And it was not easy to keep her straight. And it was, and once we got her standing, I was kind of trapped behind the wheelchair before she sat down in it, and the air conditioner was blowing like up my shirt, and it said on 65. So not only am I nervously shaking, but I'm freezing too. And she's like, "It's so hot in here. Do you have something for my brow?" And I'm like,
My hands.
"Here, let me try." But she was just so beautiful in it that I knew it was one of those moments that I was really glad that I took this job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, and I love the variety that we're hearing. When you feel, I remember the first time I got up to preach. Yeah, right? And I'm trying, friends. I am trying really hard to get Alicia up there to preach on a Sunday morning.
It's fun.
No thanks.
She does an amazing job with our youth and our students and our kids and the lessons. My little girl, 4-year-old, she comes home and she just rattles off the lesson. So one day. But I will share that I remember vividly the first time I got up in the pulpit to preach, and my hands, my hands were sweating and like my hands were shaking. I probably had a tremble in my voice, definitely. And then what made it worse was I got cotton mouth. And I just remember, because it was kind of a both and situation. It was the respect for what was taking place, but at the same time, it was more of a fear of, what if I say something that isn't accurate, or what if I say something that would lead someone away from God's goodness? The goodness that I experienced, that I've experienced firsthand, His love, His mercy, His grace. What if I say something that derails someone? Like the fear of that came over me. And I just remember after that first time, I this is going to be graphic, but I hurled in the back afterwards. I worked myself up so much. And I just remember, because there was 2 services. That was the first service. I had to do it one more time. And I just remember I had someone come up to me and they could tell I was nervous, and they prayed over me.
Oh.
They prayed over me, and they reaffirmed that this was God at work in my life, and to trust that. To trust that. And I got up there to preach the second service, and I'm not going to say flawless, because I don't even want to use that. But when it comes to nerves, when it comes to working yourself up, I was able to, all that was calm.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say I was able. God was able, through the power of prayer, to bring sorry, I hit it. It moved. Through the power of prayer, to actually calm those nerves. And I'm forever thankful, because now every time I step into the pulpit, especially this week, you'll find myself beforehand praying and really seeking God to speak and to move in mighty ways. And when we get out of the way, right? I think about Moses, who had a speech impediment. I think about all the people, now Jacob with a limp,
Right.
all the people who were unable for some reason, God used in mighty ways.
Yeah.
He came through. The power was in them.
I love that, because I feel like, we have events and we do things here at church all the time, and I get all wrapped up in, oh my gosh, it's starting. Like the first day, it's always hard for me for VBS, because I'm like, my nerves are everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like sick to my stomach, sweating because I'm like so nervous. I just want everything to go right. And then by the second day, I'm like, okay, relax, right? But when we only have one day of events, like our Easter Bunny breakfast, I'm like running around trying to make sure everything's okay, and all the volunteers are okay, and they have all what they need. And at the last Easter Bunny breakfast, that was the thing that I realized is, like, I could have been so much calmer if I just stopped before and prayed before I prayed with the volunteers, right? Like
right.
before one of us prayed with the volunteers, I would have just stopped and prayed and said, this is up to you. That's what I do every day before youth. I walk in and I'm like, God, this is all you.
There you go.
Tell me what to do.
I did the preparations.
Right.
There
right.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that lesson. I'm trying to hold on to that for VBS. Just pray with all the volunteers and just enjoy it. Enjoy the time. So I love it.
So let me ask this. Where did you see God working within you during some of those times? It's very specific, right? How is God working in you? What did you learn from that experience? And you kind of hit on it, right?
Yeah, just giving it to God.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So, whatever circumstance you had gone through or whatever situation you had found yourself in, please leave a comment. Let us know. I do like that Jeff says, I can't wait for Alicia to preach that Sunday.
I love you so much,
Team
Jeff.
Alicia.
I just want you
Jeff.
to know.
But
So
no
mad at
matter
you.
what situation or hardship you found yourself in where God intervened or took what you thought you were overwhelmed with and you were weak in, and God stepped in and carried you through, what'd you learn from that? And I love what you brought up is that, hey, I learned that from one experience, I'm going to now do this.
Yeah. I think that's what with everything we do, maybe it's not an event at church, but it's everything we do in life. There's a lesson or there's something that God wants you to know or recognize. And so maybe we don't catch it the first couple times, right? Maybe we still afterwards we're like, oh man, I know I learned that last time, but moving forward, I'm going to do it. And then you forget, right?
Yep.
But God continually shows up and continually says, this is what I want you to learn. Trust me, right? Like, sorry, I didn't mean to smack the table.
No, that's all right.
I think if we just hold on to God showing up, God shows up all the time, and that he's with us all the time, we can really enjoy more things too.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be so stressed, and I don't know.
Yeah.
That makes me think that the first time I preached was at a homeless ministry, and I was so nervous, just like that, with, so I started walking around the building, and, just kind of saying hi to people and pretending like I wasn't about to do what I'm about to do. But at the end of it, the only thing I could think of was, I don't remember any of it now. Because the Holy Spirit had taken over so much that I actually ended up kind of missing a few things. But we were all sitting down to have lunch after that, and I couldn't eat because I felt so full.
Yes.
I
love it.
And
I
so
love
now
it. It's
I'm
a great
like,
feeling.
it's like one of those things. It's like actually one of my happiest memories. I don't exactly remember what I preached on or who all was there, but I remember just feeling so calm, and it worked, and I was full.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And to kind of bring it, we talked about last night with the Bible study, the church, Pergamum was a church known as compromise, right?
Yes.
But it's when we get in those hardships, because it ties in. I love how each week is actually tying into our scriptures on Sundays.
It's amazing how God does that.
Yeah, right? How he orchestrates that. But it's the idea is that we compromise when we're faced with hardships or struggles, and even more so. And I'll touch base a little bit. I'm not going to give away the whole idea of Sunday because I'm still forming the sermon and all that. But fear. Fear leads us to compromise. Fear leads us to maybe try to do things on our own strength and rely on our own understanding of things.
True.
And so we allow fear to take over, and we give in to the fear. But I'm getting around to God and Jacob and the long-lasting limp. I'm thinking about how many times throughout life you experience lifelong lessons, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with finances. Maybe this is the second house you went through and signed a mortgage for, and you're like, maybe I should read it this time. Yeah. Life lessons as you go. I can give you example after example where I relied on my own understanding, my own way of doing things. I know what's best. I can hear my mom coming out saying, anyways, what I thought was right or what I thought was the right way to do things. Now looking back, I can see where if I would have just prayed beforehand, or if I would have just got the wisdom that is more godly, I'd be in a totally different situation. That's why I love Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace.
Yeah.
Now being older, I love Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace. But it's those things, right? Like, my wife would tell you, I was not the best with finances through college. In fact, I signed up for a credit card just because they were giving away a T-shirt.
Why not?
Why not? I didn't want to do laundry that week.
Oh my goodness.
So I had a credit card. But it's the ignorance, but it's also now looking back on what I used to do, now looking at how I do work the finances. I go to the Lord in prayer before each time I sit down, because it makes an impact. It impacts your family. It impacts your life. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing it in a godly way, that each area that God expects, maybe there's enough money freed up to where we can give more away this month, right? Like all those things, like God revealed to me where I can be a blessing to others, even in the finances. But the forever limp of Jacob, I will always remember how not good at finances I was. Or irresponsible I was.
Do you remember in Cars 2? Did you ever see Cars 2?
Cars 2.
You didn't see the second one?
I don't think I saw this. Maybe.
Lightning McQueen was in like some.
Is that the
worldwide race
agent?
With all of the yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You remember when they were gonna have Mater go and get the makeover or whatever because he was gonna be the double agent?
Okay.
And he had a problem with it because they were going to pull out his dents and change him.
Oh, yes.
And he had a problem with that because every one of those scars, dents, everything reminded him of moments with Lightning McQueen.
Oh, and he didn't want to let it go.
He didn't want to let
He
it
wanted
go.
to always remember.
And so sometimes you realize it's these scars that it was painful, but it's a constant reminder of where God was good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Despite
that.
no matter
I got
how bad it
goosebumps.
was.
Yeah.
I love it.
So if you haven't seen Cars 2, that is a plug for Pixar Cars 2 to watch it. My little girl has watched it 1,000 times, as well as Cars 1's Cars 3. So
My kids are out of that stage, so I
know.
guess they don't watch
My
that
kids
stuff
aren't
anymore.
yet. When did your kids grow out of it? My kids are.
I mean,
like
unless they're
20,
watching it
16, and
without me.
13. They're still not out of it.
They may be watching it without me.
that is hilarious.
That
So
is funny.
that leaves us with this question, because we are coming to time, and I really want people to think about it, and you can comment if you like. How do you see God's bigger, deeper work within you and whatever you're facing this week? That's the reality, is that life doesn't end.
Sorry.
Life doesn't stop, right?
Right.
We don't live in the past. We're living in the present. So
Yep.
what are you facing this week that maybe you don't feel confident about, right? Like maybe you're about to step in and lead a meeting, or maybe you're about to step in, or maybe you're about to make a big life change.
Yeah.
A big decision in front of you. Maybe you're like me and you're going to sit down and look at the bills for this month and look at your finances this week. Whatever it is, what are you facing this week where you need God to be there with you, to guide you, to lead you, to step in maybe. Maybe it's an area that you feel completely inadequate in. Whatever it is you're facing this week, what is it? That's a good question. And then also prayer, right?
Right. Yeah.
I love how you brought up prayer.
I love it. Go to prayer. Go to prayer.
I feel like that's the go-to. That's like, it's becoming like the Sunday school answer, Jesus,
Right.
right? Like for me, the older I get, I'm like, prayer.
Yeah.
More prayer.
Yeah. And that's
Did you
not
read
always
your Bible? Did you look it up? Did you see what God has to say?
right.
Yep.
And that's not always easy, right? Because you want the
No.
answer. I just had a conversation with somebody. I won't say who that is, but I had a conversation with somebody
Ramsey.
the other day and said, we just need to go to prayer in it. And I said, hey friend, I said it's easier said than done, right? Like I can tell people all day long, like you really need to pray about that.
Right.
But when you're in this situation, sometimes that's hard. But we have to just leave it to God because it's out of our control.
Right.
Right? Like,
And it doesn't have to be a flowery prayer. He hears
No.
the groans of your heart.
yeah.
Dear God, help.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
even have to be verbal.
Yeah.
Right.
You could just be there in your heart and just
Yeah.
think it. He knows it.
Just talk.
Yeah.
That's what I tell the youth all the time. Like, just talk to God. You don't have to say, like, something formal. Just talk to him. Hey, friend.
Yep.
Like, Talk to
calls me
him,
his friend.
right. Talk to him like you talk to everybody else. So, anyways, I love it.
Yeah, so all the individuals who are on our prayer list, you know, I hope you hear a word of encouragement there, right? If you're on the prayer list, you're probably going through something, and you know, persevere. Know that God is right there with you. May the peace of the Holy Spirit be upon you. Go to the Lord in prayer and turn your fears, your burdens over to the Lord, because in our weakness is when the strength of the Lord, the strength of the Holy Spirit powers us and
so
gives
true.
us that strength.
So
We're going to shift gears. We're actually going to close up here because we're coming up on time. Thank you guys for joining us. But there is a lot that's going on here at Wesley Church. And so be in prayer for Pastor Ryan. He is away at camp this week. And so he's getting to love on some kids and share the word of God with them. I'm so excited for him. I'm actually a little jealous. I feel like we should have gone as a staff.
Me too.
And ministry, right? Maybe we should all go because there's just something so fulfilling about seeing the childlike faith firsthand and to experience the joy of the Lord through the eyes of kids. And so be praying for Pastor Ryan. And I think actually both kids are there this week as well for camp, both of his kids. So be in prayer for the Hall family as they are away at camp. But they will be back on Sunday. So we're excited for that. Yeah. So with that being said, Sunday morning, 9:30 is our contemporary service as well as our Wesley Church online. We are going to be doing for the first time our growth track. And so I'm preaching this week so that Pastor Ryan is freed up to do the growth track. And that is an opportunity for you to, one, get to meet Pastor Ryan if you haven't already. But you get to hear his heart, and you get to hear where he feels God is calling not only him as a pastor, but also where is Wesley Church going? What is Wesley as a church family doing and moving to advance the kingdom here in West Melbourne and abroad? Obviously, with us being online, we had people watching. Was it Colorado on Sunday? Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, 3-hour difference, but that was awesome, right? So that's an opportunity for you to really get to know the mission of Wesley, to get to know just a snapshot of who we are. So if you don't know, that's a great opportunity for that. 11 o'clock is our traditional service, and then we do have youth this Sunday.
We do.
At 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. So
I'm excited.
The biggest thing, guys, and the biggest things that you're going to hear us push is VBS. Okay, so I'm going to ask Alicia to give you just a little bit of detail for that, how to sign up, what the dates are and times and all that good stuff. I put her on the spot.
Me on the spot. Okay, so VBS is the 12th through the 16th. We're super excited about it. It is for 4-year-olds all the way to 6th graders. If you have youth kids that I have not talked to yet, they are volunteering their time to be the leads of our kids. So it's a nice time for them to do intergenerational stuff.
Yeah.
The kids look up to the youth, and the youth can bring huge things to the kids department. So we're excited about that. It's online on our Facebook and on our website where you can sign up. It's super easy. There's a couple questions, and it gets emailed to me. So if you haven't signed up yet, get signed up.
Is there still an opportunity for people to volunteer?
Yes. So I have, if you haven't talked to me, or if you have, please email me, because some people have talked to me on Sunday mornings, and I'm going to be truthful. I'm busy on Sunday mornings, so I sometimes don't remember. So shoot me an email this week.
You go 120 miles an hour too.
All the time.
All the time.
So shoot me an email and tell me. I'm going to be getting with my groups next week to set up a time to talk to them so they can see exactly what they're doing, answer any questions they have. Did I miss any questions? It's at night from 6 to 8:30. So
6 to 8:30.
Yes. So parents come and drop their kids off. They're going to have dinner with us.
Oh, good.
So there's dinner and like a snack that goes with the theme.
Is it vegan and gluten?
If you write on there that you need stuff like that, then we will make sure it's covered. I'm not sure that I have any of those yet, but that's okay. Either way.
Just in case someone has that
question. I think I have a peanut allergy one so far. But so get signed up. Come hang out with us. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And it's coming up fast, so make sure you go to the website and register. It's going to be awesome.
I know,
If
I'm
it's
so
going to be
excited.
anything like these decorations and Ramsey over here, it's going to be awesome. But I think that, we also have the Bible study, so make sure you can sign up online there as well. So go to wesleychurch.org, and there's a place for you to sign up for the 7 churches of Revelation.
I love it.
Next
And
week
Jesus-
is Thyatira.
Thyatira.
love
Yep.
it.
So even if you haven't been a part of it the last 3 weeks, each letter is an independent study on what Jesus is saying to the church, and you can learn. So don't hesitate to sign up.
My mom says it's been great.
Oh, good, good. So I think that is it. We are wrapping up. So, okay. So as
Thanks,
we
Bonnie.
wrap up, Bonnie's going to go close us out on the tech side. Thank you, Bonnie, for doing all that. As she's doing that, I'm going to pan the room so you can see how crazy it is in here before she closes us out. But go with the Lord. Know that He is always with you, that He's right there with you. And in our weaknesses, God gives us strength when we don't expect it. He comes through. He powers through. And that's the unforgettable promise of God that we've been studying. So
agree.
have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Sunday. And I'm going to pan the room so you can see it. Bye, guys.